Good morning and welcome back to ProBuild 360 TV newscast. A couple of stories again out of the business desk this morning. I don't know how I feel about this one. Awkward plans for 42-storey Broad Street tower set to be refused. So Birmingham City Council's planning committee set to refuse the awkward and disjointed redevelopment. SJP Investments submitted plans before closing in 2020 amid the COVID-19 pandemic. 42-storey tower. Good lord. See, on one hand, I don't want giant skyscraping buildings popping up all over the place until we can no longer see the sky. But on the other hand, I'm sort of naturally on the side of developers and builders because I am one. Anything that gets refused, I'm automatically biased to, be up in arms about it because I like progress and stimulation of local economy and so on. On the other hand, it's a big old chunk of a building. Plans also feature 300 parking spaces and cycle hub and so on. Contributes 12.2 and 8.8 million to the UK and West Midlands economy each year respectively. I never know how they come up with those figures. Recommend that the scheme is refused as it would result in substantial harm to the listed building due to its setting and poor design. Can't necessarily argue that. Would fail to provide 35% affordable housing, and no viability justification for this has been presented yet, alongside inappropriate housing mix. Well, we know all about this, don't we? It seems surprising to me that the submission was in 2020, and what year are we in? 2024? 4 years later, no viability assessment has been presented, and the housing mix hasn't been addressed. Well, what has been going on with the application then? Has the planning department not been communicating? Have they been sitting on it? Marons and SJP Investments, I'm sure would immediately put together a viability assessment and address the housing mix if they were asked to. Insufficient information about how the development would impact daylight, sunlight and privacy for residents. Again, why hasn't that been presented? I mean, an SME builder like us would address those things if asked to. Not that we're building skyscrapers, of course, but I don't know why these things wouldn't have been addressed in 4 years of an application. Lack of information how the scheme would not prejudice the future development of the Brass House site. I guess we'll find out soon what's going on with it, but yeah, I'm torn on this one. It's kind of cool, but there's a lot of buildings going up. Okay, next story. Tensions rise at Mayoral Hustings as candidates talk housing. Great, we should all be talking housing. So we're looking at Siobhan Harper-Nunez, Green Party, Richard Parker, Labour Party, Andy Street, CBE Conservative Party, Sonny Verk, Lib Dems and Elaine Williams from Reform UK. They put affordable housing and retrofitting programmes high on the agenda. So tensions rose between Street and Parker over the 250 million unspent on housing by the West Midlands Combined Authority. Parker called this a chronic failure by the current regime and said he would pump priming housing associations with programmes, bit of alliteration for you, and to deliver his ambition of 20,000 social homes by the end of the decade. Always got to be clear the difference between social homes and affordable housing. They are different things. So Street said the notion that we've not spent our money is just for the birds, and we've gone to the market to say that 250 million was still available after spending already a very large sum of money. I'm with Street on this one. Just because money is allocated doesn't mean that it should be rushed to be spent. Labour and those on the left side of the aisle want to spend, but rush into it, you're going to risk low quality, various other negatives that can come with rushing into spending money that's been allocated. So yeah, with Street on that one, and they have spent a hell of a lot of money. Yeah, so this just gets joined with more funding that we've just got. He highlighted the WMCA's achievements in delivering 33% affordable housing and doubling housing completions, and committed to delivering 2,000 social houses per year. I don't think Parker's got anything there. Reform UK candidate Elaine Williams argued that adapting to a warming planet is more effective than trying to stop climate change. Red rag to a bull for the environmentalists. They would scrap net zero policies, all for that. Whilst Green Party candidate sat in the corner crying, I'm guess. No, Siobhan Harper-Nunez highlighted the 97% consensus among scientists that on the climate emergency, saying we're not about to have a conversation about whether it's happening. It's happening. See, this is why I just can't get on board with these green activist types. First of all, consensus amongst experts is never a scientific argument. Tell that to Galileo. And just giving answers like we're not about to have a conversation about whether it's happening. It just stinks of orthodoxy to me. It just stinks of dogma. No, not having it. I think this is a very reasonable alternative view. The climate has changed since forever. So yeah, sure, we should be considerate and sensible about what we're doing with our environment, but it's just this sort of messianic complex of saying we're going to, the world's about to be set on fire, and we're going to organise our tax policy, which is going to stop it. It's just nonsense. So I'll give that one to Elaine Williams there. Siobhan Harper Nunes, I want to do so much more to support our communities and ensure that no one is left behind. Okay, but it just sounds like a soundbite to me. Child poverty in this region is on the rise. We have the worst housing stock in Europe. Food poverty is on the rise. Local services are fine. We're already seeing the effects of climate change with heat waves and increased flooding. Well, yeah, all right, the climate is changing, but we need action right now. I will create a mass program to retrofit people's homes to save money and emissions alongside an efficient transport system to decongest our roads. That I'm down with. Get those damn roads decongested, because low traffic. But the thing is, it's it's green policies like low traffic neighbourhoods, LTNs. Look at Kingsey. If you put roadblocks on all the side roads coming off the high street, and it's a nightmare. So yeah, on board with this, but I'd like to know about how you want to do it. Richard Parker, after 14 years of the Tory government and 8 with the Tory mayor, this region is going backwards. It's a Labour council, bro, that bankrupt us. But the worst performing economy in the country. We've got more young people out of work in the country. 200,000 people who live in substandard housing, 64,000 people on housing waiting lists, and during this, there's been 250 million not spent by the mayor. Okay, fine. Well, let's spend it then. Committed to delivering a minimum of 2,000 social homes, and I hope to grow that number to 20,000 by the end of the decade. Okay, well, I'm not one for social housing, to be honest, because I think that disincentivizes. Look, I understand the need for it, but it wouldn't be my goal to have everyone living in social housing. I'll reinvest the underspending and work with housing associations to pump prime your social housing. What does that mean, pump prime your social housing delivery? I think we've got the money to deliver an additional 5,000 on top of what we committed. Stamp down on rogue landlords to ensure that everyone in this region has a safe place to live. I do think that rogue landlords are a thing. I'll bring the bus network into public control. Okay, I don't like the idea of anything that is brought into public control. There's nothing, as in the words of Ronald Reagan, there's nothing that the government can do for the people that the people can't do better, cheaper, and of higher quality, or something like that. I'm probably butchering the quote. The record over the last few years is a record of real change. Yeah, I think so. This is the only region in the country that is on target at its housing target number. It's not a small number. Yeah, he talks about this in our podcast, which you'll be seeing in about a week. A huge majority of these have been built on brownfield sites, bringing derelict communities and sites back to life. Yep. Combined Authority has played a critical role in this because of the cash flow, or I might even say I negotiated with central government 650 million in housing deals. Well, he has. Richard made something of an allegation. Let's be clear that this was never in the Combined Authority's remit at the beginning. Theoretically, housing was in the remit of local authorities. Some of those have failed to deliver, and that's why we're now stepping in. Lane Williams. My area, we've been working with tenants who are unfortunately living in some conditions that are not good for them, and we need to ensure that as part of housing and building houses, that people live in good conditions. Yes, Bit soundbitey, but yeah. We must acknowledge the existing inequalities and disparities that exist within our housing system. Stakeholders, social housing, work with the housing associations, yeah, they're all saying much the same thing. In the building process, so that we can build as many homes as possible, as quickly as possible, using new construction technology. It's the shoehorning of modern methods of construction, or MMCs as they're known in the trade. They're a great solution where needed. We talked about Vistry having their factory in Leicestershire to deliver timber frame solutions off-site, prefab. They're great as a solution where necessary, but shoehorning them and risking losing the old traditional build methods, caution is what I would prescribe. Well, on this one, I am obviously not going to put myself in, tell you who I'm voting for, but I will say I have noticed some real goofball independents out there. At least vote for someone that's tried and tested, a serious candidate. Just to let you know as well, this is something we'll be doing, when is this? 23rd of April. Me and my good friend Rico are going to be talking to Alexa Culver, Sean Rooney and Matt Dodds from the Environment Bank, which is a company that is set up to help administer the new BNG policies. We've dealt with BNG on our Hawks Farm development before it has been enacted into law. It's a real roller coaster, but I can tell you these guys are good guys. I've spoken with them and they really do understand the effect and the concern and the trepidations that SME house builders have around BNG. So if you're a SME house builder or anyone else that's interested in understanding BNG, please, you can sign up for it. This is my LinkedIn post about it, so you can just follow the instructions here and come listen to what's going to be a really brilliant conversation. So other than that, until the next time, keep up the good fight and I'll see you soon.